What's up, my fellow YouTubers? Today I wanted to make a video on these Polymer 80, Glock 17s, Glock 19s, whatever it is you built. They're all probably about the same for about what I'm going to tell you. But of course, after building a gun from scratch, pretty much, I bought a bare slide as well, so I had to install all the parts into the slide, as well as obviously completing the lower. But of course I ran into my share of problems, and I was searching the internet like a madman trying to find a fix to all my problems. Some I did, some I didn't. And so I figured I'd make a video of all the problems I came across, and I actually fixed them relatively easy. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so problem number one I had, at least I think it was number one. When I went to load a round in the chamber for the first time, of course in a safe place, definitely not in your house on a dirty rag, but nevertheless, when I put the magazine in the gun and I went to chamber a round, it didn't even consider it that the round got stuck in the barrel. It was not feeding. It probably got just the tip of it in there, and it stuck open. It would not feed that round for nothing. So in this case, what I found for me with this barrel that I bought was the feed ramp had a rough lip on it, right, like where the ramp transfers into the actual barrel. There was a built-up lip on it, so that way the brass casing was catching that lip, and it would not feed for nothing. So I safely and carefully filed it down little by little, so that way there's no longer a lip there. And with just that fixed the failure to feed issues, or not willing to chamber around, go into battery, any of those things. So that fixed that. What was the next problem? Oh yes, the trigger bar and the tab on the trigger bar. When I first put this gun together, I couldn't get the slide to cycle back. It kept hitting. And so what I found in this build is that trigger bar was hitting the the firing pin safety plunger. So I ended up having to file that down. Obviously you want to take off as least as possible, but I had to file that down little by little to the point where it would finally clear the safety plunger when I cycle the gun. And it still works, of course, as it should. Let's see, what else did we have? Well, I think aside from having to file that ramp, smooth out that feed ramp, which depending on where you get your barrel from, you probably won't even have that problem. I just bought this barrel off Gunbroker, and seems like a decent barrel other than the fact that it had that lip there. So I mean, relatively easy fix, but you may not come across that problem. I think one of the more common problems is this trigger bar running into the firing pin safety plunger, which, I mean, it's supposed to kind of, ride underneath it. In the way it's shaped, it's supposed to be able to clear it and depress it, only when it should only depress it after you fire it. That's what releases the safety for the firing pin. So basically, sorry, I'm one-handed here, hold on. So I pull that trigger forward. You can see the trigger bar is kind of at a slight angle forward. And then when you pull it, the trigger, it pops up, also depressing the firing pin safety plunger. So I think that's probably one of the more common issues people have with these, is that trigger bar jamming itself right into that plunger, either on the way forward or on the way back. So, like, again, if you're going to fix that, you're going to definitely want to be careful. You don't want to, I suppose if you ground that too far, it just probably won't fire because you won't be able to depress the safety. So I don't think it would be a unsafe thing to sand it too far down. I think it'd be overly safe because your gun won't fire no more, if you know what I mean. But either way, just be careful and go as little as possible as you can. Other than that, I think, you know, some filing might need to be done. If this is too tight, you know, you might need to file in between there to make the slide better, smoother, I should say. I think for the most part, that was really my main issues, was just a round not wanting to chamber, and it was due to the ridge on the barrel. And then the firing pin, or the, you know, the trigger bar safety deal. Other than that, you just want to make sure that you get your, yeah, I know mine's a little hacked up. This is my first one. But it does work. But you want to make sure you get that channel cut out far enough for the recoil spring so it doesn't bind and get caught, because that's another area where people are having trouble. But I guess that's it. If you have any more questions and want to tell me how bad rock slides are, feel free, because I know I've already heard it. They're terrible slides, people say. But then again, everybody who owns them says they work fine. So I'm pretty sure it'll probably work fine, especially for what I'm going to do with it. I think it looks kind of sweet, actually. All right, guys. Peace out.